This is CBN NewsWatch.
Thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, more political instability in Israel as the government dissolves itself and prepares for yet another round of elections, the fifth in 3.5 years. The Biden administration pushing to make the abortion pill more available in states where abortion is illegal. We'll take a look at the dangers of the pill. As we celebrate the 4th of July, we will hear what the signers of the Declaration of Independence risked so Americans could be free. And as the iPhone passes its 15th anniversary, we're going to look at how it's been used to spread the gospel. All those stories and more ahead today in CBN NewsWatch. I want to begin in Israel, where the parliament officially dissolved itself today and scheduled Israel's fifth election in 3.5 years for November 1st. Prime Minister Natalie Bennett and Foreign Minister Yailer Pede announced their intention to disband the Knesset last week after a month of political instability caused by some members pulling out of the ruling coalition government. According to a previous agreement, Bennett is handing over the government to Foreign Minister Yailer Pede, who assumed the role of Prime Minister at midnight. Bennett also announced he would not run in the upcoming elections.
Beloved citizens of Israel, in a short time, I will end my role as Israel's Prime Minister, and I will pass the baton to my friend, Yailer Pede. I will continue to help and assist him in my role as alternate Prime Minister as much as needed. His success is the success of the country.
The upcoming election gives opposition leader Benjamin Netanyahu a chance to return to power. Also in Israel, a parliamentary committee loosened the country's restrictions on abortion this week, approving changes aimed at making it easier for Israeli women to obtain abortions. The new rules will make abortion pills more widely available through the country's universal health care system. Here at home, increased access to the abortion pill is also on the Biden administration's agenda after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. The White House is moving to make it more available in states where abortion is outlawed. But the dangerous side effects from the pill are rarely reported. Still, the risks are very real. Medical reporter Lori Johnson explains.
Calling the Supreme Court decision despicable, Health and Human Services Secretary Xavier Becerra is vowing to use his power to keeping all options on the table. One move is ordering federal health agencies to provide the pill if the mother's life is in danger or in cases of rape or incest, even in states outlawing it.
Medication abortion has been approved by the FDA for years and is safe for patients.
Becerra echoed earlier comments from Biden administration officials vowing to make the abortion pill more available, but stopping short of providing details about doing that in states where it's prohibited. Tony McFadden took the medication, which is actually a 2-pill prescription. The first is mifepristone, which blocks the hormone progesterone necessary to keep the baby alive, followed by misoprostol a couple days later, which causes the uterus to contract, forcing the baby out.
I do just remember looking down in the toilet and just thinking, just being in shock.
Excruciating physical pain began 2 months later.
And I went into the bathroom and there were blood clots the size of my fist leaving my body.
2 years later, a doctor's visit revealed more damage.
The nurse asked me if I had an abortion before. And I said, yes. And I said, why did you ask me that? And she said, because you have scar tissue.
Complications like Tony's are often never reported.
As many as 95% of all abortion pill complications are not reflected in FDA's data. And they don't even collect data on most complications anymore. They only require reporting on deaths.
The FDA approved the abortion pill regimen in 2000 and just last year dropped the requirement that doctors see patients in person before prescribing it.
Chemical abortions were 50% more likely to send someone to the emergency room for an abortion-related complication than were surgical abortions.
Abortion advocates advise women not to disclose they took the abortion pill if they have complications from it, and instead just tell doctors they're having a miscarriage.
incomplete abortion, where pieces of the baby or pieces of the other pregnancy tissue are left inside the woman's uterus. That is a frequent complication with chemical abortion. And that's why we saw such a large number of women needing hospital admissions to have surgery to finish these abortions.
Pro-life attorneys hope to stop providers in states where abortion is legal from prescribing and mailing pills to people in states where it's not.
When you're saying there's an interstate conflict, we're going to have to unfortunately go back into the courts and see to what extent can we protect life there. And I think for most of the legislation across the pro-life board, we never criminalize the woman. The woman is the victim in this scenario.
Instead, they would pursue action against the doctors. That still doesn't prevent foreign doctors from prescribing the abortion pill online to women in the U.S.
I will review her case and send my prescription to her and to a pharmacy in India that can fill my prescription, and then it's sent from India. I am acting according to the medical, ethical guidelines and the laws.
The FDA asked foreign doctors to stop this practice and advises Americans to avoid taking abortion pills from other countries. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
While Democrats hope abortion will be a major issue in the upcoming elections, high inflation and the economy remain the top issues for voters. And an overwhelming and growing majority of Americans say the U.S. is heading in the wrong direction. 85% of U.S. adults say the country is on the wrong track. That number includes 78% of Democrats, the president's own party, and 92% of Republicans, according to a new poll from the Associated Press and the NORC Center for Public Affairs Research. The findings suggest President Biden and the Democrats face severe numbers going into the midterm elections. Turning now to immigration in America, new details have come out about the horrifying conditions inside the truck packed with migrants in Texas. More than 50 people have now died, a tragedy highlighting the humanitarian crisis along the southern border. As CBN's Tara Mergener reports, the dangers of crossing the border do not appear to be halting record numbers of immigrants from trying.
Last month saw more than 239,000 illegal border crossings, the highest numbers ever recorded. As investigators learn more about this recent deadly case, the Border Patrol is putting out a dire warning about the dangers of trying to come here illegally.
With the rising temperatures of South Texas, this is a guaranteed death sentence. It's not worth it. Do not place your life or the lives of your loved ones in the hands of these criminals.
In San Antonio, a vigil mourning the lives of at least 51 migrants found dead this week.
I'm so fed up. I'm so tired. I came here when I was 14 years old in an 18-wheeler as well, and I passed out from the heat. I was lucky that I woke up.
Authorities say traffickers stuffed more than 60 migrants into the back of this abandoned tractor trailer with no air conditioning.
God knows how long they were there for.
Most of the men, women, and children already dead by the time help arrived.
The floor of the trailer was covered with dead bodies.
The survivors remain in critical condition.
They were all with tubes. They couldn't talk at all.
The truck's registration leading investigators to a home in San Antonio. 3 men are in custody, 2 of them from Mexico living in the U.S. illegally.
You got a rescue beacon activation on the Silver Tanks Road.
Border Patrol has 47 rescue beacons placed in high-traffic areas throughout the Rio Grande Valley. They help agents find migrants in distress at a faster rate, even as the surge increasingly overwhelms agents.
50 dead migrants in the back of a trailer. These people are heartbroken, our law enforcement personnel, because this is the kind of thing they can stop if they're not distracted, because they're having to process all of these people because Biden refuses to enforce the law.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott also blames President Biden's border policies.
All he's done since he's been president is employ open border policies. That means basically ceding the border to the cartels to engage in activity just like this.
Most of the victims in the truck were men from Mexico, Guatemala, and Honduras. Before Monday, the worst smuggling-related mass fatality in recent Texas history was in 2003, when 19 people died after being trapped in an unrefrigerated dairy truck for hundreds of miles. In Washington, I'm Tara Mergener, CBN News.
Coming up, as we prepare to celebrate the 4th of July, we're going to bring you a look at what the signers of the Declaration of Independence risked so Americans could be free. We got the story when we come back. What does the 4th of July, America's Independence Day, mean to you? Is it just another holiday for gathering with family and friends, maybe to enjoy a parade or watch fireworks? What about sacrifice? As Douglas MacKinnon, author of the new book, The 56, tells this week's episode of CBN's The Global Lane, the signers of the U.S. Declaration of Independence truly risked their lives, fortunes, and sacred honor so we could be free.
It's interesting with regard to the book, The 56, I had no intentions of writing it as of just last July 3rd. And then on July 4th of last year, I took a little bit of a tour through some of the more liberal networks out there, and I saw guest after guest after guest talking about canceling the 4th of July, canceling our founding fathers, canceling the American flag. And so basically I just picked up my phone that day, called my publisher, and this book was created because what I believe and what I talk about in the book, Gary, if our history is bad, let us condemn it and learn from it. If our history is good, let us praise it and build upon it. But let us never, ever cancel our shared American history, something that is not taught in our schools anymore.
And many people are, of course, familiar with Thomas Jefferson, John Hancock, Benjamin Franklin, John Adams. How about some of those we didn't actually learn about in school? Who else stands out in your book?
Yeah, one of the greatest things about doing a book like this, Gary, as you know, is actually learning a little bit more about the subject. And so for me, the most important person, and I really frame him that way in the book, was Richard Henry Lee of Virginia, not too far where you guys are from in terms of doing the show, because actually it was Richard Henry Lee who was going to be the chairman of the Committee of Five to draft the Declaration of Independence, and it was going to be Richard Henry Lee who was going to get picked to actually draft it. But then what happened was, Gary, on June 10th of 1776, his wife took deathly ill, and he told Jefferson and others at the Continental Congress, "Don't wait on me. I've got to get home and take care of my family." And so Thomas Jefferson actually stepped into the breach and became the person we know. But in many ways, it was Richard Henry Lee who laid the foundation for our liberty.
What price, if any, did these signers pay, Douglas, for putting their signatures on a document that was considered to be treasonous by the British Crown?
That's exactly right, Gary, because when these 56 men signed the Declaration of Independence, they were literally signing their own death warrants, and each man knew that. And guess what? So many of them paid a severe price. A number of them were arrested. A number of them had their homes burned to the ground, their wives arrested, their wives imprisoned, their wives sexually abused, their sons shot. And again, for some people on the far left to want to cancel these courageous heroes, the men that actually created the greatest nation known to the face of the earth, it all stems from the fact that some people are looking at 1776 through a very clouded and biased 2022 prism, and they can't do it that way.
I have a British friend of mine who has said, look, there was no tyranny that they were fighting against. The Crown wasn't tyrannical. What do you say?
Well, I say exactly what Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin and John Adams said, that the fact the Crown was stepping on the throats of the colonists and squeezing all the air out of them. And one of the points I make in the book, too, is I try to also say, look, the tyranny of 1776 was bad, but in many ways, the tyranny of today may be even worse. And it's one of these things where we have to be inspired by these 56 men. No one's going to ride over the horizon to rescue us, Gary. At a certain point, we have to save ourselves, too.
And that's why a lot of people say, thank God for the Second Amendment. Finally, what's the takeaway, Douglas, for this Independence Day? What do we as Americans and others who appreciate the United States need to remember about the 56 and the 4th of July?
That these men were heroes. They were so courageous. It was their genius, their vision, and their courage and their sacrifice which did create the United States of America. And again, we should all be out there making sure that they are not canceled, that the 4th of July is not canceled, that the American flag is not smeared. We have to speak up for ourselves. And the 56 left us the blueprint to do exactly that.
Well, we're thankful for them, and God bless America. The book is The 56. Douglas MacKinnon, thank you for sharing those insights.
It's been an honor, Gary. Happy 4th of July.
Also on tonight's episode of The Global Lane, China's dominance of global rare earth metals and the potential threat to U.S. national security, and helping out children to learn the truth about the founding of the American Republic. You can see those stories and more on The Global Lane this evening at 8:30 on the CBN News Channel. You can watch it also on the CBN News app. Still ahead, the iPhone is a normal part of our everyday lives for millions of Americans today, for communicating with friends, family, coworkers, and more, and watching videos as well as surfing the web. But it has another major use as well, spreading the gospel. We're going to show you how it's being done right after this.
Come home to the sounds of Southern Gospel from CBN Radio. You'll enjoy a rich
15 years ago, Apple started selling the iPhone. At the time, many questioned whether the device would succeed and how people would actually use it. We now know that it continues to be a tremendous success, and as Abigail Robertson reports, it also has played a significant role in helping believers spread the gospel.
This iPhone was the first to download the YouVersion Bible app, an app that now has more than 500 million downloads. The free app was also among the first 200 available in the App Store.
I am super grateful for the iPhone because it made it possible for us to have the Bible app.
And that opportunity came a year after the iPhone release, when Apple opened the digital doors of its App Store.
We saw the technology as a potential to reach people with the gospel, and we had no idea, though, how God could use it in such a powerful way to reach people in every single country and territory. With his word, and we've been able to be a witness to something really incredible that God's done.
The app now features about 2,600 versions of the Bible in almost 1,800 languages. Founder Bobby Grunwald, also a pastor at Life Church in Oklahoma, tells CBN News the next phase of the app will help people connect with local churches.
And we're really excited to be able to provide that because we really care passionately about the Capital C Church, and we really believe the Bible app is a great tool to help be able to connect people to church and local communities to help them grow spiritually.
YouVersion partnered with the Museum of the Bible to create this high-tech digital exhibit.
This is a fun spot in the museum. It's Bible Now. So you see here what's going on with the here and now of the Bible.
One part shows the most popular Bible verses and keyword searches in each country where the Bible app is available.
You can look at it and see what people are searching for and really kind of take a temperature of what's going on in the world and how people are feeling by what they're looking up in the Bible.
Shannon Bennett from the Museum of the Bible tells CBN News how the app is helping spread the gospel.
We can really look at YouVersion as a continuation of Gutenberg's tradition and getting the Bible into the hands of everyone around the world. Maybe you can download the Bible app in North Korea, but if you bring your phone in that has the Bible on it already, there it is, in a country that bans the Bible.
Grunwald's church constantly monitors how new technology can be used to share the gospel.
We're not proclaiming that that's where everybody's at or where that's even the next big thing, but we're just wanting to do these experiments, try things. We just don't want to be guilty of not making every attempt to share the gospel with people wherever they're at.
Currently, Life Church has about 150 people from all over the world attending their church in the metaverse.
What we found is really interesting, but people, when they have a physical facade, when they're using an avatar, for example, to kind of navigate these virtual environments, they're much more comfortable sharing spiritual and emotional things that are kind of going on the inside.
Grunwald says so far the metaverse has created a really rich opportunity for ministry where the church has seen positive results, but he acknowledges it's still an experiment. Reporting from Washington, Abigail Robertson, CBN News.
Coming up, America loses a hero as the last surviving World War II Medal of Honor winner dies. We'll tell you about his life and his conversion to Christ when we come back. Stay with us.
Too often, we carry baggage from our past. You know what it's like.
It affects everything and everyone in our lives. It's always there, weighing us down and keeping us from achieving true happiness. But do you know God never meant for us to be trapped in the past?
Remembering an American hero, Herschel Woody Williams was the last surviving Medal of Honor winner from World War II. He died yesterday at 98. John Jessup has a look at his remarkable life.
As a Marine corporal on Iwo Jima, Woody led his battalion's assault, taking out 7 enemy pillboxes over 4 hours. He faced enemy gunfire and direct attacks, going back for more flamethrowers as he ran low on fuel. That same day, Woody saw Old Glory waving over Mount Suribachi, the iconic photo that made headlines around the world. In 1945, President Harry Truman awarded Woody the Medal of Honor for his actions that day. Not only did Woody kill several enemy soldiers, but 2 of his fellow Marines gave their own lives to save his. Like many veterans of war, he struggled to adjust after returning home. On Easter Sunday, 1962, Woody went to church with his wife and 2 girls and heard the pastor describe Christ's suffering on the cross.
And that Christ had sacrificed his life just for us. Well, that hit home with these 2 Marines. Here are 2 individuals who didn't have to give their life, but they did, protecting me. And it really got me. It really got me. And for the first time, I realized that there are sacrifices made for us.
Woody went to the altar that day and prayed. He served the Lord the rest of his life and taught Sunday school at his church for 44 years.
And Woody's full testimony is at our website, cbnnews.com. Time now for your Thursday Thankful. I hope you'll join me in this prayer of gratitude. Father, thank you for your unfailing love. There's absolutely no thing I can do to earn it, and there is no thing I can do to lose it. There is truly no greater love. With that word, I pray you'll make today a thankful Thursday. Fill the day with gratitude from start to finish. That is going to do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. You can always find more of our programs on the CBN News channel. You can find them there at any time, as well as online, cbnnews.com. We'd love to know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can email us, newswatch@cbn.com. You can also reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We would love to hear from you. Thank you for watching. Make it a thankful Thursday. We'll see you right back here tomorrow, come Friday. Bye-bye, everybody.